Good to see you again. We met yesterday, a last session and post-lunch. So I'll ensure that we have an interactive session and you enjoy it. I know the topic is tough. Let's see what best we can do. Well, strategic cost control without killing business initiatives and operations. Now, this is something which actually I'm in love with this topic. Cost and love. These seems to be two diagonally opposite terms. And the reason I'm in love with this topic is because thrice I have attempted this exercise of cost control. And twice I succeeded. Once I failed. And we all know that someone who has seen failure in an exercise and has also seen success, he knows what it is. And therefore you will find people getting in love with that particular thing when you fail and succeed. So that's where I really love this topic. Now the next 30 minutes, I will take you through what it is, why people find it difficult to understand, you need a mindset change, what are the myths around it, what is cost reduction, cost control, what is austerity, right? And then I will also take you through a successful exercise where I was one of the champions along with the leadership team and what we did. Now that will be somewhere later during the presentation. And a very important aspect of this presentation, without which it cannot be completed, is why cost control fails. You see, the fact that it doesn't succeed every time necessarily means that there are good reasons for it to fail. And we'll have a detailed look at it, why it fails and what we need to do. Right? So here we go. So let's enjoy the ride for the next half an hour. So that's the first. You see, the moment you talk about cost, as I said, the first thing is, look, it won't happen. It's easy to build on the revenue. It's very difficult to reduce the cost. It won't happen. It just will not happen. We're wasting time on this. So it's a lot to do with the mindset. When you talk in terms of cost, whether you call it cost control or cost reduction, you've got to do with the mindset. So the first step is a mindset change. And I found this very interesting as I was working on a presentation. For many people, change is a scary journey, right? Into the unknown. And many people don't like to change. You see, as human, I would be more happy if I know what it is, rather than entering into a territory which I don't know. And that is why people generally resist to a change. And that's the logic. Now the beauty is, we all know we need to change. What I was 10 years back, I'm different today. When I came back into UAE in 2005, and today compared, I'm different. When I came to Middle East in 1998, and today I'm different. So we all know that we need to change, but there is an inherent reluctance to change, right? We always believe something wrong will happen, so let the status quo continue. So many people know what they need to do to improve their health, but few behave accordingly, right? when we go to the doctor and he says, look, you're required to do A, B, C, D, E, and we come out well happy. Yes, we are going to be fit, but are we willing to do steps A, B, C, D, E? And I'm sure most of us, find it difficult to implement it. So there you go. Many people know what they need to do to improve their health, but few behave accordingly. And this is the punchline. 90% people want to change. Change for good, right? Change for better. But only 25% ever do anything about it. Goes back to same mindset. Mindset is critical. And especially when it comes to anything to do with cost, mindset is the key. Not to the mindset. And as I said, the first thing as we go forward in this enjoyable ride for the next 26 minutes, I think all of us should be ready for a change. So I'm ready for a change for the next 26 minutes. Yeah? That's great. So let's move. As I said, there are a lot of myths around this cost control. Few of them I narrated, it won't happen. And there are few myths which have been historically going on. So let's look at some few myths which are around cost control or cost. Right. And I'll start bottom down. Okay? Let's start bottom down. CFO who's driving the cost control is negative. And he doesn't want business to expand. This is a comment which I guess I've heard everywhere, to me. Everywhere I heard this comment. And I've heard so many times thrown at me this comment that honestly I am immune to it now. If I don't hear this comment, it sounds surprising to me. But jokes apart, the bottom line is, generally when as a CFO, when you go out and you say, look, yes, it can happen. The first comment from the ownership is, no, it won't happen. On the contrary, you are blocking the progress because you want to reduce this, you want to reduce that, bring here. You are negative. You're negative. Change your mindset. These are the comments which, I've heard so many times. But I don't agree. Because as I said, if I have been successful twice in the cost control, as one of the leaders to get that, obviously I can't agree to this. So that's something one. Then, cost control will demotivate employees and the group environment. Well, true and false both. It depends upon how you handle the situation. Yes, in some cases, there are employees who get demotivated. But if you know how to get your message across to those employees, you'll win over them. And as I'm going to take you through the success story, the example, I'm sure you'll recognize that yes, that's a myth. You can win over. Cost control cannot succeed, it's only a concept. Often heard. Look, we all are professionals sitting here, we had a lesson in any of our professional exams, so we all know what is cost. Marginal costing, standard costing, variable costing, fixed cost, we all know. But you see, these are all concepts. These are all concepts. Nothing is going to work through. But again, I don't buy that because it's not a concept. It is something which is so relevant, and so relevant. Especially in the current times when the revenue is under stress, collections are under stress, and cost is something which is internal to you. It's within you. And that is why I keep saying that cost control is not a concept. Another term, cost control versus austerity. Now you remember that this term austerity, it was used very often when one of the world economies of one country was in complete shambles and then it was taking up. And that's the time this word was used so often. Anyone wants to make a guess? Which was that country? A few years back. Yeah, there you are, Greece, right, same one I'm referring. We go back to 2015, those times when they were going through a serious turmoil politically and financially, to the extent they might even default. Now, that time, this was a term that was used left and right. But again, cost control and cost reduction is not austerity. The basic fundamental difference is that you engage in austerity when your survival is at stake. Like what happened in the case of Greece in those days. While cost control, though, obviously talks in terms of bringing down the cost, the idea is looking forward. I mean, if I have to simply put in terms of language which you all understand, accounting, austerity is something to do with the going concern concept of the country or the organization. While a cost management or cost control does not mean that there are the going concern issues within the organization. Right? So there you are. Austerity is done with an intent to ensure survival, normally the one-off exercise, obviously faces stiff challenges. I mean, those of us who know the Greece days will probably know how difficult it became for the general public to live to those realities. And cost control ensures survival with corrective actions. So you still are looking for a growth. You still are looking for a growth within the cost control. And that's the key difference. All right. There's another term. Cost control versus cost reduction. Now, this is what I believe in. And I'm sure many of you won't probably agree, or if you go to the textbook, you will find out these are not the right way of looking at it. But this is how I look at it. For me, when you talk of cost control and reduction, you use these terms very interchangeably. Right? For many it is same. Like most of us. For most of us it is just same. There's no difference between cost control and cost reduction. Yes, on some extent, I agree. These terms more or less convey the same message, convey the same thing. Therefore, I said, for some these are interchangeable. But is it indeed? Is it indeed? Yes. These terms are common for few things and not common for few things. So let's again, we'll pick up a bottom to top approach. Okay, let's go with that. So they cannot be same for concept, ends when, objective. Essentially, when you talk of cost reduction, you're looking for a per unit cost reduction of your product line. Whether it's regardless of business model, whether it's a service business model or a manufacturing, whichever, you're looking for a per unit cost reduction. And you believe that that cost reduction can help you really generate profits. Actually speaking, you're not comparing that cost reduction with a benchmark, right? On the other hand, the cost control is normally a one-off exercise where you're trying to standardize your cost in line with the benchmarks, if there are any. So definitely cost reduction is something like a keep going exercise. It doesn't end. Well, cost control is a one-off exercise. All right, so it's a one-off exercise. You set your target, try to achieve it. a few issues, quality, nature, cost target. I have a different view. For example, quality, someone says, look, cost reduction, you guarantee your quality. Cost control may not. I think quality is an issue where both whether it's cost control or cost reduction, have to maintain it. I mean, I can't really imagine a situation where you do a cost reduction or a cost control and end up diluting your service or product in whichever line you are. I really don't see how will that happen, because then you're going to lose revenue. So, same about nature. Is it permanent? It's temporary. Again, for me, these are interchangeable. At times I've seen cost reduction can be temporary. At times cost control can be. But the bottom line of cost control and the cost reduction is that both aim to bring down the cost, again with an intent to take the business to the next level or to meet the targets. Now that's how about us. Okay? There are a few methods. Few of them we all know. But let's look at, again, bottom up. False economies and tight budgets. False economies and tight budgets resulting into a cost reduction. Maybe. So, anyone wants to make a guess? What is this false economies which we're talking here? What are we referring here? False economies.
They can't be sustained.
Come again?
They can't be sustained.
They can't be sustained. Okay, anyone else? We're talking about bringing economies in your operations, right? And I'm using the word, I'm consciously use this word false as a prefix to economies, right? So, anyone wants to make an attempt again? What is false economy would mean? All right. I think one of the mistakes or the people make when they attempt cost control is bring down everything. And the typical sentence which we use is, if you have to be successful in cost controlling or reduction exercise, they say, look, reduce the fat, trim down the fat, but don't get into bones and muscles. Don't cut into bones and muscles. However, trim down your fat. Now that's how it is. So what happens is, many times when you engage in your cost control or reduction exercises, you probably believe that, look, I have to bring down everything. And then what happens is, instead of reducing the fat, you start cutting into the bones and the muscles. Right? And when we get and cut into the bones and the muscles, it doesn't work. And let's show an example. Let us say you have, let's look at a practical case. You're handling 5 businesses and you consciously believe that in the current times you require a qualified professional to handle the work as a chief accountant level or a finance manager level. But you start believing that he's going to cost me X amount. And you feel, look, I may still live without him. I'll manage it. Yes, you can manage it. Yes, your going concern is not being in doubt. But is it the right step? Is it the right step? It's not a right step according to me, because in trying to achieve this false economy of saving some money, of recruiting, instead of recruiting of qualified, you go for the next one, you do save some money, but that doesn't help. Instead, you are prolonging your misery further by compromising with the quality of the people who will help you in achieving the objective, right? So what you're doing is you're trying to bring down the cost by engaging in something known as a false economy and get satisfied that I brought it down, but it's a clear example of your hitting and cutting into the bones and muscles of a person. That is what I mean by saying false economies. And I've seen, as I said, I've been involved in one of the exercises when I failed also. And that's the learning lesson I learned at that time. That let us not get into the false economy. It doesn't help. Okay, so let's broadly look into essentially what is a cost control process. And again, this is something which I believe will work, a process which I'm now going to share with. Cost control is an easy concept, but difficult to implement across group and generally face challenges and resistance. So even before you embark on the mission of bringing down the cost control, as I said, to me it's a one-off exercise. So once a decision is made that you need to do something on it, you need to engage with the people, make them know what are you intending for, and engage with them. So that the change, mindset, resistance, which has started at the beginning, you overcome it. You overcome the same. Therefore, you need to first overcome the challenges and resistance. Bring the people to you, make them understand where you're coming from. And then cost in line with what my profit and loss account can review. A review of cost of sales, direct cost, indirect cost, fixed and variable. I won't get into the details because we all know what the costs are. But the message I'm trying to communicate here is, when you look at a cost control, invariably I've seen you'll pick up an employment cost because that's an easy target, right? It's a very easy target. Or bring it down by 15%, bring it down by 20%. But I imagine in the success story which I had, we need to look at each and every business model, each and every item of the P&L, right from the cost of sales to the gross revenue. And again, this is regardless any business model. People again confuse here that look, this reviewing each and every item of the P&L is something which you can go for trading. According to me, again, regardless of business model, you need to look at. So basically looking at each and every item of the P&L and then keep revisiting it. What people often mistake is that, look, you do a cost reduction, you achieve it, and then say, look, that's it. No, that doesn't work. You need to constantly keep monitoring it, keep looking at it, and then reviewing it. And it's something like this. You go to a doctor, right? And he suggests to you that you need a surgery for whatever reason. He asks you to go for a surgery. And you recognize that there's no option for you. So you say, fine, I will take that PT. And you go for the surgery and come out successfully. But this doesn't mean that you're out of it. I repeat, this doesn't mean you're out of it. You need to constantly monitor yourself and keep reviewing it. And something similar happens here. Cost control is one like a surgery. You do it, but if you forget it, you're back to square one. So you need to do it, keep reviewing it, keep monitoring it, and I guess that is the way it has to happen. All right? Different organizations have a different method to take it forward once they have understood how they will take it forward and once they have made the message clear to the people across. But this is something which I have seen from my 3 of my exercises. This is, I feel, is the best method. You create a core committee, you have a champions, and it needs to be a one-time exercise with regular monitoring of the results. That's the key point. That's the key point. It's very important because organizations at times lose sight of it. Okay, now here we go. This is a case study which I'm going to share with you. as I said, this is something which I feel very proud about. Before we start here, let me give you a little perspective of what this group industry was, what the business model was, and what happened, and why we were compelled to do this exercise. This group is into manufacturing and contracting. It had various batching plants here in UAE, Qatar, Saudi, and a turnover of about, I guess, 500 million dirhams. That's pretty good. So, in those years, we had the business plan meeting, somewhere around, I guess, November, October, yeah, that time. So I, as the CFO, then the CEO, and the various GMs of this Saudi, Qatar, they came and we presented the business plan to the ownership, to the board. So the meeting was supposed to start at 9. We all were there. It was a Thursday morning, I still remember. And I guess after 45 minutes, our chairman of the board said, let's stop this meeting. I don't want to continue further on this meeting because it's not helping. What you guys are suggesting to me is a net loss. And you're giving me n number of reasons, right from there's a revenue challenge, there's a collection issue, there's a people issue, there's a cost issue. But he said, look, I'm not paying you guys to give me stories. I'm not paying you to hear your stories. He said, look, I have worked very hard for this business, so if professionals like yourself, the CEO, the GMs, if you can't give me a solution, please accept you can't give me a solution. I have someone else, I'll bring someone else who will give you a solution. And this was enough. So the meeting concluded, and we decided that we'll go back to the boardroom, which we did. And then we said, look, we are going to look at end-to-end to see how we come out of this. So that was the background of we were compelled. So as I said, at times, you've got to be tough to handle this exercise to end in a successful result. And at times, you have to be compelled. So this is a success story because we were compelled. We were left with no option. So there you are. Board disapproved of our business plan, which showed losses, and asked the CEO, myself, and the GMs of the various units to work out an effective plan, period. No discussions, nothing to discuss. This is it. Take it or leave it. Shape it or ship out. It's as simple as that. So what we did next, we then created a committee of 3 of us, the CEO, the CFO, and general manager. Looked at each and every item, employment cost, evaluating at the gross level and the overheads. And then as I said, we knew it was going to be a challenging task. We probably had only 50 days, I guess 45, 50 days to come out with a workable plan. And the next slide there'll be some numbers, which will realize the extent of targets which we have taken on us, because that's what the business required for sustenance. All right, let's move. So here it is, broad numbers. As I mentioned, it's a manufacturing contracting business model with the batching plants, UAE, Qatar, Saudi, and we had a minus business plan. So you have, as you can see, we were looking for a 20 million of cost reduction, which comes to something like 37%. 37%, and then you will find, so our target was to bring down the cost, sheer employment cost, by 20 million. And I gave you an indication, the business model had a turnover of something like 450 million, if I remember correctly. So you are looking for a straight reduction in the employment cost alone by 20 to 22 million. These are the various departments, admin, literacy, mechanical, so on and so forth. And then finally, we thought this somewhere around November, December. That's where we find status as of 28th December. but we also knew that some of the reductions will probably happen next year. And therefore, you will see on the right-hand side, immediate reduction and reduction the next year. So though our target was something like 20 million, we probably end up with 17 million. Now, how did we do that? Let's look at it. How did we do that? So the bottom line is, the 50 days time which we had, we did this most unpleasant exercise of working out an executable plan of action, giving a reduction of something like 17 million, which was significant, 31% of the overall cost. How did we do? Broad indications again. Some of the people were asked to find a new job. Some of the people were moved from this location to another location. Some of the people were moved to a central team. Essentially, what we're driving here is, obviously, people who are not giving the results were moved out. We brought the shared service concept, and we also started looking at each and every operation to see how effective we can be. But you see, this net result is not as simple as it looks like. A lot of discussions happen with the various departmental heads, right? And the people who were asked to go, many of them were in the system for years together. But myself, the CEO, and the GM decided that we need to do something. So, regardless the pedigree of a particular employee in the organization, it was what are you worth today, and what can be a potential benefit to the group. That was the logic taken. And then, of course, we very well knew that this will have a very cascading impact on the people, what's going on. So we kept the message across, kept everyone informed. So those who were performing, or those who could find an alternate assignments, knew that they would be there to play the game. So the point I'm saying is, the three of us felt it was necessary to engage with the people, to make them what is happening, and if a tough call has to be taken, let it be. Let the people know what they're doing. Many times I've seen people are not communicated. One of the organizations which I worked in, where there was no one was clear who's going to be there and who will not be there. The cost control won't work. And then these were other actions, again on the employment front. We relooked at the incentive packages, and again, wherever we could further trim down the cost on the employment front, we did it. Now this is interesting. As I started saying, that cost control, the first step people do is to bring down the employment cost, because that's a very logical step, most of us believe. But this is another area, administration cost. Now if you look at, we were having a cost of 26 dirhams of that unit of the product, which the administration cost. In our own analysis, we realized that we need to bring it down to 16. So remember, we were looking for a 10 dirhams of that unit of the product reduction in the administration cost. Again, a tall task. The message I'm driving is, when you're doing this unpleasant exercise, you really need to know what your profit and loss account can permit. Go back to the slide when I said, look, we need to look at what my P&L says, period. So this is what my P&L could have taken, nothing more, nothing less. And we did a few of the actions here. Obviously, when we started removing people, there was a cascading impact, cost saving on the other aspects of cost, visa, etc. Then some of the land renewals, some of the workers who were in particular accommodation were asked to move somewhere else. Then we, in fact, closed one of our plant also, Jabalali plant, one of the batching plants, which has not been working well. We took a call at it. That means, again, the people who are driving this exercise need to also take the ownership in confidence when such decisions are made. It's a two-way situation. You manage the team down, you manage the top people too, who are the eventual decision makers. So there's a host of actions which we took, as you can see, to bring down the administration cost. But again, as I said, as I can see, instead of achieving a cost reduction of 10 dirhams for a unit, we added the 7 dirhams. And that was about it. This is the operation cost reduction, which we pertain to the hardcore operations. Since it was a manufacturing contracting business model with various batching plants, now again here, we knew it would be difficult to bring down the cost, so we set a realistic target, and if you can see against 37 dirhams per unit of the product, we said we'll be happy. We said we'll be happy if we can have a 4 dirhams reduction. So the message I'm communicating is that when it came to admin, we said 10. When we came to operations, we said 4. So your strategy will change depending upon the business model you are into. And we did exercise of removal of generators, single shifts to several plants, we merged few departments. Diesel cost optimization, this is interesting because this involved, we wanted to save some cost on the diesel front. So we made some changes in how the batching plants were functioning. However, again, it could not have been a sole exercise between myself, the CFO, and the GM. So we involved the plant manager to explain the situation and then found out a solution. So a lot of actions resulted into a saving of 4 dirhams, but yeah, we could manage still 3.4, still fell short of target. Okay, this is something which I believe we CFOs believe it won't happen, especially in the raw material front. Because we conveniently take a position that, look, I'm not a technical guy. I do not know how this is manufactured, whether it's a furniture making business, or it's a ready-mix component business, or it's any FMCG product. We conveniently take a position that, look, I'm a financial and commercial guy. I'm not aware how the process works. And if I'm not aware how a process works, how am I expected to do anything on this cost reduction? But as I said, since we were compelled to, it was a question for us survival. So we did penetrate this raw material cost, and we did some actions. Raw material supplier terms review to be renegotiated with the finance team. Payment terms to be renegotiated. So sole supply agreement, since cement was one of our main raw materials, so we applied a lot of well-known companies here, and we approached them because we wanted to get the best price for cement, right? And then the last one, aggregate cost reduction with cost substitution, cost optimization. Now, anyone wants to make an attempt in a manufacturing business, what do we mean by a value cost optimization? If anyone wants to share his views on this.
Target-based costing?
I didn't come again?
Is it driven by target-based costing rather than just a cost? You try it based on how your profitability needs to be then, and then you try down the cost and see what fits into the...
No, not exactly. Anyone else?
Maybe the manufacturing necessity will bring down the cost.
Not exactly again. What we did was different. And what we did was, yeah.
I think we are talking here about raw materials, and here it is, the contents of the materials itself, like the mixes and all these.
Yeah, exactly.
So the optimization of those
very
things, it will make a difference.
The manufacturing mix, as I said, this was something which I had not handled, but I was willing to stretch myself and got into the technicalities of how the product is being manufactured. Something which we finance guys are more shy to get into. He's perfectly right. There's a mix here for that particular product. So we looked at the mix itself. And what we did was a smart engineering. Because as far as the customer is concerned, so long as he gets the end product, there's always a scope of shifting from A to B and B to C. Right? And we did that, and we achieved savings. So again, as a CFO, if you have to succeed, we'll have to take our cap of, we'll probably have to think like a businessman. I don't see any other reason. And that's what I did. That was my learning lesson, why it succeeded. Because I realized that if I have to look at a cost, even for a raw material, which before that was in no territory for me. And I realized that it helped. So thank you for answering. Right. All right, so there you are. Now, this is very crucial. As I said, this is my heart. Honestly, this is my heart. Why cost controls fail? You see, let's start with the second point. Complete support from the ownership missing. And I believe this is the key point. This is the key point. And I say with this full responsibility. Especially for the family-driven organizations. They might tell you, look, we want to, you'll have to make it profitable. And they will tell you also that, look, we are going to give you all the support that you want. But when it comes to taking unpleasant decisions, when it comes to giving that support which is required, I've seen many times they back out. Many times they lose the patience too. Patience is the key when you talk in terms of cost control. If the owners support you, they probably will expect something to happen as of yesterday. No. Someone has to go and tell them, look, this is not a rocket science. It cannot happen as of yesterday. Now the team which is doing this got to be courageous and conscious to communicate this. And they said, I've tried a couple of places. Some places it succeeded, some it didn't. So when I say looking at support, first you have to make your plan executable, something which the ownership can buy, and something which they are agreeable to, and the patience factor. So there you are, anticipation of quick results from the exercise. It's like, I need it as of yesterday. Come on, you just created a cost control team now. Results don't come, right? Results don't come anywhere. It takes time to build on. Wrong selection of champions and team, which I've shared a couple of places, that if the team selection is not right, you end up. This is another issue. Lack of persistence and inapt decision making. Lack of persistence and inapt decision making. And this is across everywhere. Not only with the ownership, even the team itself. Now in our example, when we achieved the cost reduction, what I have mentioned to you, there were times when we felt we lose the battle. Really we felt we won't succeed. We are going to lose it. But then, if you don't give up anywhere, and you're ready to persist, and persist, I'm sure you get the result. So another reason why cost controls fail, because somewhere down the line, people lose track, they lose focus, they feel it won't work. Keep persistence. Too much emphasis on achieving consensus and trying to make everyone happy. As I said starting, the very first thing that I said was, this is not an exercise which you should even think of making everyone happy. This is an unpleasant exercise. And it is, definitely it is. So if you really go over the board to make everyone happy, you can't do that. Which means there will be some people whom you have to take a call at, who may not be happy with. Somewhere you have to look at the operations, which may make people unhappy. So be it. So be it. You need to carry on with the people who are with you. It's like what George mentioned, either you are with me or you are not without, or you are not with me. And this is what we did in the successful exercise. Having communicated our reasoning, we said, look, this is where we are. So there you are. And cost control is not time bound and goes in fits and start and piecemeal. This is another reason. As I've said, cost control is a one-off exercise. You go for surgery, you come out. Same example. Now the mistake which people do is, you started, you achieve something, you forget it. 2 months down the line, you again have an issue, again start it. You succeed, you lost the earlier battle. So if you want to achieve this success, I think it cannot be fix and start. It cannot be a piecemeal. Okay? you got to bat, and those who understand cricket, you need to bat full 50 overs if you have to win the game. It's as simple as that. You need to have a sustained squad and keep going it. That's something which I've seen in one of the exercises why we couldn't succeed. And lack of support from the key internal stakeholders. This is more to do with everyone in the company. As I said, it's very important that you buy the people with you, right from top down to the bottom. And when that doesn't happen, again it fails. So the bottom line is it's an unpleasant exercise, can be achieved, a one-off exercise, but a lot to do with the team which is guiding and how much hungry you are to achieve the success. Now that's what it is. And this is the last slide. Something again which I believe in. It is not the strongest of the species that survive, not the most intelligent. It is the one most adaptable to change. And you will find an interesting image which reflects this. Again, essentially saying that, look, are you willing to change? Are you willing to adapt to a new situation? And are you willing to see to it that you win the battle? Now that's the bottom line. If we have it, I don't see why we can't succeed. And this is me. So I'm happy to be grilled by yourself, and I'll be more than happy to be grilled. Go ahead.
My name is Anand Soni. I work for IQPC. My question is, initially you mentioned that,
I'm not able to hear you actually if you mind.
Hi, my name is Mohammed Ahmed. I work for Innova by Veolia. My question is, you initially mentioned that cost control exercise, you should try as much as possible without demotivating the employees and hurting the group environment, because in the long run it will hurt the business also. But we face practically three kind of cases, because we see the business which has material intensive industry, because where the material is 50-60% of the total cost. Then we have the labor intensive industry, because where the labor is 70% of the total cost. Then we have both maybe equal. So in material intensive industry is fine, the burden is shifted to the vendors mainly. But in the labor intensive industry, if 70% of your cost is your manpower, your colleagues, then definitely it will demotivate, because the employees will know that okay, if cost cutting exercise is going on, then something will happen to any of them. So how how you have done in your experience that keeping the demotivation also away and achieving your targets also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. There are two different divergent answers, completely divergent answers to your query. First is a very ruthless answer, very, very ruthless answer, which is also an answer. It is like this: you have something in your body, and you want to live. There's something in your body and you want to live. What do? That part you love a lot.